Hello, students. I hope you've understood the previous part of the chapter. Now, let's begin further. The next stall was that of a flower seller. He announced that he was selling garlands of gulmohar flowers. Now, there were numerous stalls in the fair, and the next stall, which caught the eyes of the boys, was that of a flower seller. And the flower seller was selling the garlands of gulmohar flowers. Garlands, you understand? Garland is mala, to which he was selling. The child wanted one of those, as was his habit. He wanted now those garlands. He walked towards the basket of flowers and again announced his desire to have one in a low voice because he knew that his demand would not be fulfilled. He very well knew the tendency of his parents. He knew that his request would be denied, he would not be given this. So he made a request to have that too in a low voice, because he was very well aware that this demand of his is not going to be fulfilled. They would refuse to buy him the flowers, as they would say that they were cheap. Now, what his parents were going to provide, that was that those flowers were cheap, so he should not buy them. Again, the boy walked ahead without expecting a reply from his parents. He knew that he is not going to get this, so he did not even wait for the reply and he moved forward. Next, what he saw was a man stood holding a pole with yellow, red, green, and purple balloons flying from it. Next was a balloon seller. The child was simply carried away by the rainbow glory of the silken colors, and he was filled with an overwhelming desire to possess them all. Overwhelming is a very strong desire. Now, when he saw different colored flowers and they were giving a rainbow look, so he was at once attracted towards them and he wanted all those balloons. But he well knew his parents would never buy him the balloons, because they would say he was too old to play with such toys. But he knew that now, this time, the parents would give an excuse that he is grown up to play with those balloons. So he walked on further. Without waiting for the reply, he moved on further. A snake charmer stood playing a flute to a snake which coiled itself in a basket, its head raised in a graceful bend like the neck of a swan, while the music stole into its invisible ears like the gentle rippling of an invisible waterfall. The child went towards the snake charmer, but knowing his parents had forbidden to hear such coarse music as the snake charmer played, he proceeded farther. Forbidden is which you are not allowed, and coarse is unpleasant. Now, then he saw a snake charmer and he stopped there, because the snake charmer was playing a flute and the snake was moving its neck, twisting according to the music. The snake, it had coiled itself in the basket, and its head was raised high. It bent and moved its neck gracefully like that of a swan. Swan is a bird. It seemed as if the music of the flute was heard by the snake's invisible ears. Now, all of you know that snakes cannot hear, they just listen to the vibrations. But the author says that as if the snake's invisible ears could listen to the music of the flute, and it created the effect of a waterfall, because it swayed its neck in the same manner as the water flows in a waterfall. The boy walked towards the snake charmer, but because his parents had warned him, had cautioned him to stay away from such unpleasant music played by such men, he did not stop there and he walked further. There was a roundabout in full swing. Men, women, and children, carried away in a whirling motion, shrieked and cried in dizzy laughter. The child watched them intently, and then he made a bold request. I want to go on the roundabout. Please, father, mother. Now, till now, he had been making requests to buy the things, but in a low tone, because he knew that his parents are not going to accede to his request. But now, when he came to the roundabout swing, and he saw the people enjoying on that swing, they were laughing, they were shrieking. So he saw those people, and now he made a request, and this time the request was a bold one. He expressed his desire in a bold manner and requested his parents that he wanted to go on the roundabout. There was no reply. He turned to look at his parents, but when he did not get any reply from his parents, he turned around to see his parents. They were not there ahead of him. But what surprised him now this time was that he could not find his parents. He turned to look on the either side. Now he turned on the other side. They were not there. He looked behind. He looked at the back. There was no sign of them. His parents could nowhere to be seen. A full, deep cry rose within his dry throat. With a sudden jerk of his body, he ran from where he stood, crying in fear, "Mother, father." Now, where he was standing means as soon as he saw that his parents were not around, he was very much scared. He started crying and started shouting, "Father, mother." Tears rolled down from his eyes, hot and fierce. Now, uh, he started crying. His flushed face was convulsed with fear, and he had fear on his face. He was very much scared. Panic stricken, he ran to one side first and then to the other, hither and thither in all directions, knowing not where to go. "Mother, father," he wailed. Wailed means cried. His yellow turban came untied and his clothes became muddied. Now he was very much scared. He kept on running on each direction and he did not know where he should go, because parents are always there to guide their children. And now, when he had lost his parents, he could not find anyone who could guide him. Now his clothes also became dirty. Having run to and fro in a rage of running for a while, he stood defeated, his cries suppressed into sobs. At little distances on the green grass, he could see, through his filmy eyes, men and women talking. He tried to look intently among the patches of bright yellow clothes, but there was no sign of his father and mother among these people, who seemed to laugh and talk just for the sake of laughing and talking. Now he gave up. He could not see his parents. Now, earlier he was crying very loudly. Now his cries turned into mild sobs. He could see people standing and talking here and there. And when he saw those people, he tried to find his parents among them. The laughter, the talks of the people, those who were standing here and there, and they were talking, they were laughing, all that was meaningless to the child. What he wanted was only his parents. He was searching for his parents. He ran quickly again, this time to a shrine to which people seemed to be crowding. Every little inch of space here was congested with men, but he ran through the people's legs, his little sob lingering, "Mother, father." Now the boy ran towards a temple. Shrine is temple, which was crowded with people. It was very crowded, but still he ran through the legs of the people and he was calling out for his parents. Near the entrance of the temple, however, the crowd became very thick. When he reached at the entrance of the temple, there was a big crowd over there. Men jostled each other, heavy men with flashing, murderous eyes and hefty shoulders. Now, people of all sizes were there. They were trying to push one another. The poor child struggled to thrust a way between their feet, but knocked to and fro by their brutal movements, he might have been trampled underfoot had he not shrieked at the highest pitch of his voice, "Father, mother." Now, there was a big crowd of there, and people were pushing him with strong and big shoulders. He could have been crushed under the feet of the men. But what happened? His cries, his loud cries for his father and mother, they were heard by a man. A man in the surging crowd heard his cry and, stooping with great difficulty, lifted him up in his arm. Uh, Now, surging means powerful crowd. The crowd was very powerful, but one kind man who was moving in that crowd, he heard his cry and he bent down. Stooping is bending down. He bent down with great difficulty and picked this boy in his